Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Erin Elizabeth Wernberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if you are new here. Today we have a full moon in Gemini. So this pick a card reading I have for you today is going to be framed around letting things go, releasing things, cycles coming to an end, any type of that type of energy. However, this is a timeless reading, so if you're watching this when it is not the full moon in Gemini, just know that if you felt called to watch this, there is a message in here for you. So it's just a general reading, and as a reminder, with this full moon, we are going to be looking at letting things go. With the full moon in Gemini, this is about this is the longest full moon of the year, the last one that we got. So that's a nice little treat, and it is the cold moon. So for anyone in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in cold times right now, so that's what that has to do with this full moon. And so yeah, just really thinking on releasing and letting things go is going to be the vibes for this reading. I've inserted a picture. I have 4 groups for you today, so you can go ahead and pick by the number, by the card you can see, by the sound of my voice, any and all of that. And when you're ready, all the timestamps are below, and when you're ready, I'll see the group that you chose. Hi everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 1. So as a reminder, today's full moon reading is about, I'll be reading the cards from a place of releasing and letting things go. So we'll be framed that way for you. And for group 1, you guys picked conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. So so we do have a full moon today. So that's a nice little sign for you. But this is also just talking about, if you've been going through a time in your life, or you're in a transitory time, or maybe you feel like, okay, I've been practicing, working my faith muscle, trying to get things to happen, waiting for all this stuff to happen, and things just aren't happening. It's really saying conclusions are within reach. So, a lot of times our ego can convince us, like, if there's no physical reality evidence, then we just need to let go, we just need to give up, we need to whatever. But a lot of times the conclusion is so close. And it could just be, it doesn't mean like just the ending of something, right? Conclusions can mean you get insight into something that happened a long time ago. It means you can finally release the energy of something if you've been holding on to it for a long time. So conclusions within reach doesn't just mean physical reality changing. Take it how it resonates for you, as always, just a general reading. But this can also be talking about like if there's something energetically that's been weighing on you, or if you had to make a decision, or you're not quite sure what the next right thing is for you. This is saying all of that is coming in for you. So I think with this full moon, if we want to think on releasing things, letting things go, you can ask yourself, what am I waiting? What would I feel like once I knew it? I would feel more free, or more focused, or more clear, or I could move forward. Or what am I, what have I given my power away to, that like my energy is so hooked into it that I can't even think clearly or show up for myself anymore. So with this full moon eclipse card, conclusions are within reach, I think this is really just inviting you to ask what can I unhook my energy from with this full moon, and what can I like let go and give to God. What am I like, sometimes when we put all our energy on something, it obviously blocks us, and it also is an energy drain, because we've wanted the answer or the conclusion or the whatever, but that's not for us to know. It's for us to be delivered that information when the time is right. So just thinking about that for you, group 1. So as usual, I'm going to start with your tarot, and then I'll have your oracle cards at the end. Okay, so opening reading, we have 8 of Wands, right into the 4 of Swords, then right to in the 4 of Wands, 4 of Cups, 4, 4, 4, all right in a row, group 1. So if that's a little angel number for you, it's a little wink from God right now. 3 of Pentacles, 7 of Wands, and the Tower. Okay, so I feel like conclusions are within reach. When that card came up, it didn't feel heavy or intense or dark, or like you need some ending to something. It felt like this scheme of something. It just felt like you're in a cycle, group 1, that's maybe like coming to a close, even if it's a positive cycle, or just a chapter of your life is ending and something else is coming for you. Because we have the 8 of Wands right into the 4 of Swords, right into the 4 of Wands. So this is about action. This is about things changing. This is about things coming in for you. This is about, new energy and new things happening. And then right into this 4 of Swords, I feel like, so there was a change in your life or something happened or you realize something, right? That can be the beginning of the change of just thinking you want something differently than what's been going on. So it could be that this started for you and it was just a lot of awareness, a lot of clarity, a lot of these things coming in. And then, you took the time to be reflective and contemplative. You took a break, you figured out what worked for you, you made a choice, you made a decision. And then that's resulted in this Four of Wands energy, which is just like fulfillment. It can be the gateway to the next chapter of your life, the next place of your life, the next thing that's for you. So I feel like group one, if you've been waiting on your life to change or things happen, I feel like maybe you've just now gotten some ideas or some awareness about what the next thing might be for you. So all of these cards right here put together. So this Eight of Wands, again, I feel like you got an idea or some inspired action or something happened, right? The wheels of fate were moving for you. And then you took some time to contemplate and decide and, be really thoughtful and intentional about what's best for you. And then now, it's kind of clear, like, okay, this is the next chapter. This is the place I want to go. This is how I want to show up for my life. This is where my life is going. Came up for you with that. All of that. And then because the center of your reading, the theme of your reading, you do have this Four of Cups. So this is really contemplative energy. And again, this 444 all in a row. So I feel like, these conclusions are within reach card. Maybe you've been thinking, I don't know what is the next best thing, or maybe you're kind of like, trapped in the mind, right? Sometimes the best crystal ball we have, the best way we know how to make a choice is just to take action and see what happens. So for group one, I feel like with this full moon, you can maybe focus on releasing or letting go of, what am I trapped in my mind about? What do I feel like, I'm afraid to make a decision about this, or scared to like conclude this thing and move into this next area of my life. Because I don't know what's going to happen, or I don't trust that I'm going to be taken care of, or, whatever's coming up for you. So I feel like when we see this card, this contemplation, this refusal to like, accept the gift from God, accept the next thing, and just considering a lot of options here, this can be like a time to turn inward and just really think about like, what exactly am I waiting for to take action? What am I waiting for in terms of, oh my God, my hair. Apologies, everyone. Okay. What am I waiting for in terms of, to be able to move to the next thing, to be able to take a step forward, to be able to move into this next layer of my life and have a conclusion, right? So maybe are you waiting for like a guarantee that this is the right choice, or a guarantee that this isn't the right choice, or if I do this, then this thing will happen, right? So a lot of times when we get in this place of blocking our mind, not feeling secure, not feeling like we can show up, it's actually just us trying to control something, or we feel fearful to let something go instead of allowing it to kind of like float and go through us in that way. So just kind of, again, allowing those things to happen, allowing these things to move through us, and just know that, sometimes we can have a perfect plan in our brain. We can decide this is how it's going to be. It's going to be so amazing, whatever. But until we just kind of like, go into action or start doing something, things sometimes don't materialize until we start to physically move around and make something happen. And I think, so the last of your three cards, I feel like maybe the thing you're fearful, okay, I just got a lot of things at once. Okay, so maybe with this full moon, the thing you're fearful of, or the thing you're worried about moving forward, or what you're afraid of letting go of, I feel a lot of fearful energy. So the first cards didn't feel super intense or fearful or anything, but these three cards all together, the second half of your reading, does feel a little fearful. Okay, we just got to be honest here. Okay, so we have Three of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and then the Tower. So I feel like, maybe you, with this chapter of your life, or these things in your life, you like worked hard, you figured it out, you got it, you had this happy ending, you got it, everything was great, it was a good situation. But even if things are fulfilling for us, sometimes we can outgrow them, but we try to push ourselves into staying stuck in that space, or we try to push ourselves to convince ourselves like, oh no, I need more time here, or this is still working for me, or this is still helping me grow, even if it's not. So group one, for you all, I feel like with this full moon, there's a lot of fear around like, okay, well, this stuff is so comfortable for me, and this feels good for me, and this feels affirming for me, and I worked hard to get this, and all of that can be true, right? But when you move on to the next layer of your life, when you go into the next thing of your life, it's going to be important for you to identify these fears, because fear false evidence appearing real, of course. We love that wonderful acronym. And so that can be time for you to maybe with this full moon kind of write down your fears or your limiting beliefs. Because what I see with this Three of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands is maybe there's been a situation where you had to trust someone else, work in a team, maybe a relation, if you're whatever, however this resonates. It could be a job, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be anything where you've had to rely on other people, or just kind of be open to them or connect to them in that way. It feels like it's triggering maybe some old wounding around like some internal fears and confusion and past situations that weren't the best. And so we don't want to dismiss those, obviously, of course not. But this is really just saying, I feel like for group one, you know, the conclusion that you need to work on, the things you need to release is like, what is this painful thing happened to me before? And I'm fearful of that happening when I, you know, enter a romantic relationship or take this job or, you know, have vulnerability with whoever in my life, right? So all of these energy is more about like, you know, recreating some of those situations and being fearful that it might be as painful as it was in the past. So that energy is really coming up here, but people hate the Tower, but I love it. I think this is a really wonderful tarot card to get. I feel like it's, you know, a lot of times the human mind is so funny because we want new things and we're like, I want a new life, a new situation, new whatever. But we forget that to get to that construction, that new life, there has to be destruction and falling apart of things that aren't for us. So I feel like as you do start to move forward in this next phase of your life, this next thing you're moving into, some things are going to feel like they're being taken away or pulled away from you. And that can just be like limiting beliefs. It could be things that we're making real that don't serve us anymore. It could be things that we feel like are helping us when they're not. And so this is, you know, about letting things go that don't serve us anymore. And then some people can be scared of the Tower. Again, it's like scary, especially if you have abandonment stuff or you're worried about, oh no, this is going to be taken away from me. But this is actually very helpful and just reminds us that like if something gets taken away from us, first of all, we didn't actually need it. And second of all, it's for our highest good. And so this can be about having faith. This can be about, you know, the conclusion within reach for, I feel like for this, for group one, that conclusion within reach, it's like, you need to let go of something that you've been hiding in or putting your energy into, that just because it feels like safer to have something instead of nothing. So I really see that for you all with this full moon. Just think about what can I release that I've just been holding on to for comfort or for, you know, because I'm scared to go into the unknown. You know, I liked my little Four of Wands abundance I created here for myself, and you know that's fine. But you know, life is change. All layers of change. We have to change all the time, no matter what's going on around us. Just again, part of the nature of being here. Okay, let's look at your oracle cards. Okay, so I think Soul Sanctuary, we'll start with that one. So this one came out, and I feel like this just reminds you that similar to this Tower energy, right? When I was talking about sometimes we can get so scared when things are taken away from us or, you know, whatever. And obviously we need certain things in physical reality to thrive, but we get so hung up on things that leave physical reality that we actually don't need. And so sometimes things get taken away or we have to go without just so we can go within. And so the Soul Sanctuary card I just feel like is really about, you know, you feel nervous, like, oh, I don't have this thing, I don't have that, I don't have this. This is really saying like coming home to yourself without these things in physical reality to be a distraction of, is this actually serving me or not? So just remembering that, you know, we do have all this abundance, we do have this kindness, this softness inside of ourselves that we can connect to whenever we want, even if it feels like we can't. But just remembering, you know, sometimes things get taken away from us or we go through a rough situation where things in physical reality are kind of shaky. So we can remember that like our soul is our first and foremost sanctuary. Like we can always create a loving, kind space for ourselves within ourselves, no matter what's going on outside of us. And then going on with that, we have boundaries. So sometimes this is about physical reality boundaries, but just based on the rest of this reading, so shiny. I feel like this is about your emotional boundaries and your boundaries with yourself, how you're speaking to yourself, what you're thinking about, what you're choosing to believe, beliefs you're reinforcing within yourself. So just getting really clear about like, I do or don't need to continue this belief. I do or don't need to, you know, whatever, but just remembering, you know, you can have boundaries with the thoughts you think, you know, you can just recognize the thoughts you're thinking and release them instead of continuing to run tapes that don't necessarily serve you the best. Okay. I claim my desires. I hold great vision. I hold great visions. I'm ready to receive. So I just love this card, especially for I am ready to receive. I feel like, again, for this group one, this is like not don't want to receive at all, right? We could see that right here. So I feel like with this, it's, you know, just even the affirmation, I'm ready to receive, I'm ready to receive, I'm ready to receive. That can be very affirming for you, especially, you know, as you continue to maybe release things, or maybe things have been taken away from you, or things have shifted in your life. You know, I'm ready to receive can kind of be a really good balm for that. Just remind yourself something is coming. Change is inevitable, and this too shall pass, and things are always coming for our benefit in our life. Okay, then we have what my thoughts chronically feel good, my body thrives. So I think this card is really just saying, you know, if you can feel like, just again, these small, the energetic boundaries I'm talking about here, just these small ways you can change your thoughts, like chronically, you know, like I'm ready to receive. I trust the unknown. I trust what is, what stays in my life is meant to stay. I trust what leaves is meant to leave. So I think this is, you know, just remembering if you've been feeling tightness or fear or something in your body, this card can remind us that, you know, as long as you are speaking kindly to yourself, then that eases up situations so much more than maybe some things we are associated to find safety in physical reality, right? It's like the saying, your body hears everything you think about it. And so just, you know, soothing yourself, being kind, offering some gentleness, even, you know, these flowers in the picture in your body, just offering yourself some kindness and some sweetness can go a long way. And then last we have, I give blessings. So again, this could be blessings for things that have left your life, blessings for things that are coming into your life, just, you know, trying to find, sometimes people think if you express blessings or thankfulness or gratitude that you're like, that you like a shitty situation. That's definitely not true. This is just more about, you know, you can give blessings, you can offer kindness. You know, when things don't go our way, our ego's way, it's up to us as like emotionally mature people to not become like this tornado insane person and like project that everywhere. So this is really saying if you have been going through a hard time, it's important for you to still offer blessings to yourself, to other people, still be kind, still stay in your integrity. You know, you can deal with your whatever you're processing, but not having it be to the point where you you know, harm or like step out of your integrity in some way with that. Okay, that's everything I have for you, group one. I hope this served you. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Happy full moon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 2. So just a reminder, this full moon reading, I'm going to read the cards in a way that's about letting things go, releasing things, cycles ending, things we need to let go of. But if you're watching this when it is not the full moon, just trust that there is a message in here for you. Okay, so group 2, you picked a time for healing, balsamic moon. So I think this is pretty straightforward. Seems like some part of you connected with this energy of healing, of resting, of just taking care of yourself, of turning inward. If you're in the northern hemisphere, we are in winter, so it is a time for you to, you know, just kind of hibernate. Go with that, go with the seasonal energy, go with the body information that your body knows and has, of just, you know, it is time to heal. It is time for you to just be gentle to yourself, be kind to yourself. Don't rush the process. Don't force yourself to go faster than you can. Don't force yourself to do something you can't do, right? So a time for healing really is about a time for healing, right? So it really is about just not putting pressure on yourself and just letting your body go at the pace it needs to go. Sometimes you know, in our healing process, we do need to kind of like, you know, give ourselves a little tough love and be like, okay, it's time to start taking action, or it's time to start doing this, or it's time to start doing that, whatever. But this is really about, you know, there sometimes we want to skip that because most of us find our value, have been taught to find our value in like our output value instead of just being like, I'm worthy because I'm here right now. So slow down, turn inward, take a breather, even if it's just for the next few weeks, the end of the year, end of the Gregorian calendar year, just offering yourself some compassion and love and space around that for you. Okay, so like usual, I'm going to start with your tarot and then we will close with your oracle cards. Okay, group 2, so we have 9 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, The High Priestess, love her. Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Swords, Eight of Swords, and the Hermit. I love him too. So, okay, so I feel like, how do I want to start this? Okay, so Nine of Pentacles, Two of Cups, High Priestess. So I feel like for you all in group 2, something has happened. Sometimes we think healing is like after something disastrous or not ideal has happened, but sometimes healing can happen just when it's time to move into that next layer of our life, and we need some little like, it's kind of like an initiation or this next growth period, and we need some like recalibration, some kindness, some softness to like counteract a lot of the ways we've been pushing and challenging ourselves into this next layer, right? So what I see here with this Nine of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, and the High Priestess is there's been some meeting of the higher self, some meeting of like, this was you before, this amazing, wonderful, cool person here strolling in the garden, being amazing, right? So like, okay, I had my life, I had these things going on, like this level of life was amazing, it was going cool, I was feeling happy, seems pretty good, right? All of that was going on here with this Nine of Pentacles. And then, this is to me, either it doesn't really feel like meeting someone in physical reality, but maybe it has, maybe you met like, a romantic soulmate or a platonic soulmate or a friend or something, just kind of raised your elevation. But it feels more like, this is you meeting your higher self, or this is you meeting the next layer of yourself. This is you kind of being like, okay, this is the ways I feel I'm growing into something. And like this is the next layer of who I'm becoming is being shown to you with this situation, this time in your life. Because then we have the High Priestess, which is this is about spiritual expansion. She knows what's going on, she knows like things going on beyond the surface. She's just kind of aware of a lot of situations and a lot of things that are going on, and really kind and compassionate and open. And so this is, I feel like, again, moving from maybe some of this physical reality abundance, kind of mastering some of these things in physical reality. And then this next layer is like, some more spiritual fitness. So kind of pushing yourself to get to that next layer of being fit, of having faith, being fit spiritually, having faith, moving into these next things, trusting yourself, making decisions, kind of cutting away things that don't necessarily serve you. Because the center of your reading, the Wheel of Fortune, so we do have cycles changing. So this is like, we're getting into that next layer. Things are moving, things are changing, things are shifting. So, I think a time for healing for group 2 for you all is like, what do I need to let go of so I can move into some of this High Priestess energy? So with this full moon, what have I been holding on to? Who do I think, sometimes one of the hardest parts of change is like mourning who we used to be, or the parts of us that can't come with us anymore, the people that can't come with us anymore, the lifestyle choices, the, any and all of that. So this is really just about, which part of this person you were, these things in your life, to move into this next layer of yourself, to move into this High Priestess energy, do you need to let go of to be able to move into this next part of your life, right? It could just be like, okay, well, I need to be more careful with my money, or I know I can't entertain people who are focused on this thing because I only want people in my life who are focused on this thing, or I know I need to, I can't have this particular habit I had anymore, right? So this it's not about judgment, it's just about identifying that, and identifying as you move into this next layer of your life, this next thing, things start changing, things start moving for you, releasing some of those things. And so this time for healing card might be offering to you, it's time to turn inward, it's time to take some time for yourself, it's time to, have this healing energy of like mourning those things and letting them go because they can't go with you, right? So it's just, again, it's just part of life, right? Part of being on earth. And so the Wheel of Fortune, again, is like things changing, things moving, we're getting going. So I feel like as you cycle into this next part of yourself, you're going to have to be very clear about, what can or cannot come with me within myself and with things in like physical reality that I need to get rid of and release. And again, like that purging is part of healing, right? Releasing things is part of the healing cycle, because we know not everything can move with us into this next place of where we're going. Because then to close your reading, we have the Knight of Swords, Eight of Swords, and the Hermit. So I feel like this is saying don't Don't get all excited and move quicker than you can go. Okay, group 2. So this is really about, this Knight of Swords energy is really about like gung ho, moving forward. Here I go. I have one thought. It's time to do it. Right. So things are changing, but Wheel of Fortune is a lot about like the hands of fate. This is a lot about things that we can't control, about like, divine timing, divine placement, divine characters that are brought to us. So this is really about letting go and letting God, and just knowing that if I'm doing my work, and the healing energy is for you all, for group 2, is about which things do I need to release or not continue in my life to be able to get to this next layer. If I trust, that, and then have faith in these fated changes for myself, this into this is like, don't do it. Okay. Don't go so fast into nothing. Even I love Knight of Swords because you can see even the horse on here is like, can you like think about yourself before you do that? So this is really about, not necessarily going so gung-ho that you like kind of go crazy or lose control, or those types of things. And it is more about, because if you do that right into this 8 of Swords, just reminded me like, you might play yourself, you might get tripped up in your own energy, you might try to make things happen too fast. And when we force things, it's like they don't unfold perfectly, and then we actually lose time because we usually have to clean up a mess we made instead of just allowing things to flow in the way that they're supposed to flow in our lives. So this is, you don't want to play yourself and be trapped and be confused and be moving forward in a way that's like, this person, even with this card, this is about like, again, getting trapped in your mind, and playing tricks on yourself, because you can see this person is standing in all these swords, but there's no other people. Like the tied up, I can't think of the word. These things aren't super tight, so it's just a lot of like playing this out for being confused in a way that's not necessarily helping anyone. And then we have the Hermit. So I feel like, again, this is about going inward. It's about being mindful, being thoughtful. This time for healing, there is a part of a healing process that is about being inside, and it is about, turning inward towards the self and allowing and looking at that energy instead of, just taking action. So I feel like with this full moon, you can kind of release like, what do I feel like I need to control? What do I feel like I need to be doing? What do I feel like I need to be offering, instead of like, well, okay, maybe I just need to do some healing, some softness, some kindness to myself, instead of, trying to do X, Y, and Z thing outside of myself. Again, let's look at your oracle cards. Look at this one. I didn't even look at the other ones, but I just want to start with this one. One step at a time. So one step at a time, one day at a time, one breath at a time, one thing at a time, whatever for you. This is really saying, with all this, again, don't be hasty, right? Don't be hasty with these 2 cards. Turn inward. This is also a stillness, right? This person is meditating. Hermit is very hermity over here, right? So just kind of going slow, doing things that work for you, going one step at a time, and just moving in a way that, you're not trying to control the whole situation. You're just allowing things to happen, instead of you just being like, this is what I have to do. This is what has to happen. This is, all of that. So my achievement of joy is my achievement of success. So really good reminder that, especially as these things are changing or things are going on, maybe there's something happening where, you have to, something that can't move forward with you is maybe some physical reality attachments to like, this a particular house or this car or this job title or this or that. And so maybe, you can take some time to heal with that and just think about, what part of my value am I assigning to that thing? Or like, what my success, right? What is that? How does that conform to my own identity? What do I think that means about me and my like intrinsic value that you have just for being alive? So my achievement of joy is my achievement of success. So really thinking about, part of my healing can be, how do I let myself, enjoy my life, have fun, play, be lighthearted, do all of that energy coming through with this. And then going right along with that, I celebrate all the greatness in my life. So cute. So I think this is, again, really just saying like, maybe part of this healing is giving yourself credit for some of these like non-physical reality things you've done. So maybe you have a healthy relationship with the way you speak to yourself now, or you don't internalize other people's limitations as much anymore, right? And so those things can't really be measured in physical reality, but it's still something to celebrate, right? So I celebrate all the greatness in my life. So celebrate the things you've healed, the things you moved through, that you are committed to your spiritual growth, you're committed to becoming and evolving, you're committing to, keeping your heart pure, your heart clean. all that is worth celebrating, even if, sometimes it doesn't feel like it. And then we have I embrace the all. So this is really nice. You can see there's the 4 element signs on here, with everything. And so, yeah, I think, with healing, part of healing is looking at the stuff we don't want to look at, right? So like getting really honest about this is not working for me, or this is working for me, or this is okay for me, or this is not okay for me, right? So I embrace the all is really about embracing the all, right? And so with this full moon, you want to like ask for, you can ask God for permission to be like, please give me the willingness to look at what I don't want to look at. Please release my fear of looking at things so I can move forward. Please release, these attachments I have to these things that I need to grow out of so I can like move forward into this next layer of healing for myself. And then, of course, this beautiful card, we have love as your last card for this reading. So love is, again, love to the ego is very different than love to the soul, right? Love to the ego can be like a drug. You can be like, this feels good to me. This affirms me. This makes me feel this in this way in physical reality. This is what's going on. This is the best thing for me, blah, 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 right? But love on the soul level is we think about love as like this action of choosing to be a kind, compassionate, boundaried person. Sometimes love is, I have my lights on, so it's very bright, but sometimes love is these things that we wouldn't necessarily choose for ourselves, but it does help in our growth, and see this heart is on fire is really nice. And so, I mean, it's really nice. Okay. But it's a nice image of thinking about, there are things that, you have to get through the fire, and then on the other side, it's worth it. And we can know a deeper love. We can know a deeper compassion. We can know this deeper sense of well-being because we have lost so many things. And like the heart has gone through the fire and been transformed, and it's been totally worth it. Okay, that's everything I have for you, group 2. I'm going to leave it there. Happy full moon. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 3. So as a reminder, this is a full moon reading, so I will be reading the cards in a way that is about releasing things, letting things go, cycles ending. Any and all of that is what we're going to be focusing on for this reading. Okay, so you guys picked, this card feels so tender to me, full moon in Virgo, you are good enough. So I just think, this just really, and it's green, like your heart chakra space. So I feel like if you have been struggling with something or wanting something to happen or going through a hard time or any and all of that, just really take a moment to just really put your hand on your heart in a comforting way and just say like, I am good enough. I am good enough. I am good enough. I am good enough. I'm good enough. And also I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I'm enough. Those are two sides of the same coin, but you can go with it there. So you are good enough. So I feel like, again, some part of you has resonated with this. So if you've been going through a hard time, or maybe you've been judging yourself unfairly about a situation from the past that happened, or, you're just not looking at yourselves with the eyes of compassion and kindness and love that you would offer someone else. And this can be a time for you to kind of turn inward and choose to do that for yourself. So, yeah, group 3, just offer a little bit of kindness to yourself. With this. Okay, so like usual, I'm going to start with your tarot, and then we will go into your oracle cards after that. Okay, opening, we have King of Pentacles, and then we have 5 of Wands, and then we have Judgment, and then we have 2 of Pentacles, and then Knight of Wands, and then 10 of Pentacles, and then Ace of Cups. How lovely. Okay, so to start your reading, we have King of Pentacles into the 5 of Wands into Judgment. So I feel like maybe this is where this feeling not good enough thing is happening with this Judgment card coming out here. I feel like maybe there was, this King of Pentacles is really about like things getting real, just kind of like, total kind of things in physical reality catching up, kind of showing up, kind of like we can't deny physical reality anymore, or things that are happening, or a lot of these situations. And so this King of Pentacles into this 5 of Wands, maybe you came out of a situation where there was conflict, where, it was this long extended situation that didn't feel good, that maybe felt traumatic, that maybe felt like, this isn't the best thing for me, or I can't be myself, or I can't show up like this, or, any and all of that. So this is really just about like, there's a situation that there was some conflict involved, a situation of like, yeah, it just feels like a conflict situation. And, you're kind of like being harder on yourself than you have to be, is the energy I'm getting. And especially with this, you are good enough, and especially with this judgment. Sometimes judgment can be judgment from other people, but just based on the spread, I feel like this is about you being judgmental towards yourself. And so kind of just being judgmental of like, being harder on yourself. Maybe this conflict led to like something had to change in physical reality, or you had to end a relationship, or have different boundaries, or something changed based on this conflict or this misunderstanding or whatever, and you're kind of like judging yourself really, really harshly for that, is kind of like the energy I'm getting from this. They're like, oh my god, I should know better, or I should have done better, or this shouldn't have been like this, or just a lot of the shoulds is like what I'm hearing, like, don't should on yourself, as they say. So that's a lot of this energy of, there was a conflict, and then when we have conflict and when we have boundaries, sometimes it can show us the things that cannot move forward with us in our lives. And, we can judge that, and we can have some attachments or some thoughts about that, but it doesn't actually mean anything. We just think it does, because we know anything that's for us will continue on with us. Anything that's not for us will be taken away, and not in a punishing way, but just, that's life. So I feel like, if you have had this situation where something changed, a relationship ended, maybe a job, or I don't know, something happened where you had to have a different relationship than what was going on. This is really about, maybe that could be the source of feeling like you're not good enough because something happened and changed, and, things, it wasn't something you would have chosen for yourself, but it's just kind of what happened. But luckily, the center of your reading, we do have this Two of Wands. So this is about contemplation. This is about like taking a moment to pause, to be reflective, to offer some right-sized thinking to yourself, right? To just really look and say, okay, having the world in my hand, this world of possibilities, this world of like, that also includes like the story you're telling yourself about the situation, right? So could it just be that like, this is something that cannot move on in my life, and for me, and that's it. Doesn't mean anything about me. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Doesn't mean, it doesn't mean any of that. It's just something that happened, and something you had to deal with, and something you had to release. And now, you're on the other side. You're coming to the other side. And so this is about being contemplative, choosing a new thought for yourself, choosing new situations, choosing things where, it is time for you to think about it in a different way. So kind of stop beating yourself up, knowing you are good enough. You did the best you could. And stop pushing judgment on yourself. So an easy way to reframe this is think about, someone you love unconditionally. It could be a child. If you have a child, it could be a friend's child. It could be a friend you love and care about. But just think about them, and just think, if they were going through this situation, how would you speak to them in a way that is kind, loving, and compassionate, instead of being judgmental on yourself. So I think this is, with this full moon, you really want to look at a reframe. You really want to look at, you can ask God, like, please release the story I've been telling myself, and please show me how to have a new one, or please show me the ways I've been making these certain things real that aren't necessarily real, and show me, the story I can tell myself, so things do feel better. I feel like it's definitely coming up with that, because then look, once you do that, look at this. So you have two wands, then you pick a new story, a new reframe, this wand, right? And then you move forward with it. And it's time to like embody that story, that truth, that kindness to yourself, and move forward, and just kind of get into all this abundance that's going to come when you do that, right? So no amount of guilt can change the past. No amount of beating yourself up can, make someone behave differently, or make your situation change, or any and all of that. A lot of this energy, Knight of Wands, is really about making the decision and then going forward. So I think, asking God to release some of this judgment of self, some of this confusion, some of this upset, some of this whatever that you're going through, and just releasing that, and then taking that energy and moving forward, right? You've lost so much time to beating yourself, not lost, but you've put so much time into beating yourself up or being mean to yourself about a situation that you can't control or change. And so it's just saying, like, give yourself permission to say, I'm good enough. I did the best I could. I'm a kind person. Or if maybe you didn't act in the best way, saying, I learned my lesson and I know I won't do this or this thing again. And then just kind of move forward. It's time to move forward with that, is, what I'm hearing. A lot of that energy. Because again, look, we go into the 10 of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. So this is really going to play out into like this is like emotional overflow, emotional fulfillment, just feeling like so grateful and so happy and so glad you got to the other side of everything. And then that 10 of Pentacles is about physical reality abundance. So this is really about, when you can stop beating yourself up, then you can be more focused on all that is here for you, all these things that are trying to come to you, to be brought to you, to make your life easier. And then again, like that can help you overflow in your emotional fulfillment and just feel really grateful, really excited, really open, really happy about a lot of those things. So stop beating yourself up. Group 3 is kind of what I'm hearing. And just again, with this full moon, you can ask to release that story of beating the self up, if that's what's been going on. Okay, so so we'll just start with this one. I'm accepting. Okay, so that can be sometimes the hardest thing we can accept, bad, shitty situation, or we can accept, I have to deal with this thing I don't like, or I have to whatever. But a lot of times when it comes to accepting ourselves and being kind to ourselves, that can be really hard for a lot of us. So this card is really about, I'm accepting, but in a way that is compassionate and is, I can accept myself without judging myself, right? So knowing I am good enough, I am accepting, right? Part of accepting just comes from, or part of like moving forward and feeling good enough comes from accepting ourselves just as we are, right? Sometimes we focus on, I need to change this or this thing, and then I'll feel happy. But a lot of times if we just accept ourselves, we don't have to change ourselves as much as the ego makes us want to believe. And then we have, so simple pleasures. So I think, again, knowing you're good enough can come from simple pleasures, right? So the source of like feeling good enough, the source of self-regard, the source of understanding and being kind and loving to yourself, that can come from something simple, right? So it can come from like, I brush my teeth every day and that's amazing. Like I went for a walk today, that was amazing. I can see this beautiful, my flower I've been taking care of is finally blooming. That's amazing, right? So just kind of knowing that you don't have to have these huge grand gestures to feel amazing about yourself. You can find a lot of this love and care and more of these simple day-to-day things. And those can be really, just give yourself permission to let those be fulfilling for you. And then we have, I celebrate my progress. Awareness, not perfection, is the goal. So again, this is what I'm talking about. If you were in a situation that was conflict, and then a relationship ended or situation changed, or there are things in physical reality that are just different than how you would want them to be, just remember that, like, try and look at, is this situation not as intense or insane or horrible as maybe the one before it, or did I handle this in a way that maybe wasn't the best, but it's better than where I was, right? So a lot of times I think, well, this wasn't the outcome I wanted, so it was total failure, total disaster, didn't work out. But that's not true, right? So you're we want to focus, I celebrate my progress, spiritual progress rather than perfection, right? Awareness, again, I'm accepting, right? If we're aware of like, hey, this situation maybe wasn't my best work in life, maybe I wasn't as graceful as I wanted to be, but I'm growing and I'm changing, and that's all we can ask for ourselves. It's just like wanting to be better than we were previously. And then just going on with that, there's no such thing as an unchangeable condition. So I feel like this is really saying, even if the relationship ended or changed or whatever this conflict was, I keep saying relationship, but relationship with anything, relationship with a job, relationship with whatever, how you show up to work, or I don't know, but whatever. So this is saying we can't control anyone outside of us, like definitely no way, 100% we cannot do that. But sometimes, if you can't change the actual situation, we can change the way that we're looking at the situation. And then we just see that like kind of the emotional charge of the situation is left us. So this is really about, again, releasing that judgment of yourself, right? Just saying like, can I be compassionate towards myself? Can I understand I did this in the best, kind, loving way I could? And that's it, right? So the situation doesn't change. The past is what it is, but you have decided to look at this in a different way, frame it in a different way, and then the situation changed, right? When I look at the situation differently, the situation is different. Even if nothing changes in physical reality, right? We do have this power to kind of shift the condition or the situation, even if nothing actually changes in physical reality. And then we have this last card, fate. So I feel like this is just a really good reminder that God is in control, not us. And so if we really clung to, it had to be this way, it had to happen, it had to whatever, people come and people go, things change. We're living life on life's terms, as much as we want to pretend like we're in charge of, like, I can manifest this and I can have that and I can do this. There's things that happen that no one would ever choose for themselves ever, right? And why is not a spiritual question. This is just remembering, like, there are things at play here for fate, things that are quote unquote good and quote unquote bad. But these are all things that we are not in control. God is in control, not us. Let God be God. And just know that, again, God is there to help us get through these things, not punishing us or deciding you deserve this because of this, right? So this is more about letting yourself allow fate is going to be what it's going to be, right? And so just knowing that, how do you show up in between and to these things that are going on is, the power we have within ourselves, not making certain things happen. Okay, that's everything I have for you. So have a full moon. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, welcome. This is for everyone who picked group number 4. So just a reminder, this is a full moon reading, so I will be reading the cards in a way that is about releasing, letting things go, kind of cycles ending and letting go of things we do not want to continue. Okay, so group 4, you guys picked it's time to release negativity. So full moon in Scorpio. So part of you connected with this, and this is like, I want to be very clear here. Okay, we're towing a very thin line when we say it's time to release negativity, because we're not talking about toxic positivity. Okay, I'm not talking about spiritual bypassing. I'm not talking about pretending something didn't harm you or wasn't whatever. But this is really about, we all get to a place in a situation or something that's happening where we have to be accountable for ourselves and be like, okay, I've processed this, all I need to process, and now I'm just addicted to complaining about it, or I'm just addicted to processing it so I get an ego hit and someone tells me how right I am and how amazing I am, right? So this is really about knowing that eventually, part of the letting things go process is knowing that it's not up to us to continue to judge something or add energy to it when it's ended, when it's clearly time for it to be done. None of that is like what we're focusing on here. Okay, we just want to focus on releasing negativity, releasing things of that sort, and just remembering that, like, eventually it's up to us to accept it. And we can get addicted to gossip, we can get addicted to saying something, to talk shit about something when that doesn't serve us anymore. So this is about releasing that cycle. Not we do need to process, we do need to talk about things, we do need to release it, but if you get in the place where you're just like stuck in this loop on it, that is not what can serve us. Okay, so like usual, I'm going to start with your tarot and then we'll end with your oracle cards. Okay, group 4, so we have the Empress opening your reading, next to Justice, next to the World. 3 major arcanas in a row, group 4, so big energy for you. Then we got Ace of Wands, and then 2 Pentacles, and then 5 of Swords, and then the Star. Okay, so more than half of your cards are major arcanas: Empress, Justice, the World, the Star. So if you've been feeling some intense energy, group 4, it's coming out on the cards. Okay, it's definitely going on with that. So the Empress into Justice, into the World. I feel like, if we're going along with this theme of releasing negativity, I feel like with these 3, this is really about, and then we have a full moon today, we are at the end of the year. This is really about letting a cycle be complete. So this is, you tapping back into, regardless of your gender, right? This is just energy. So Empress energy of like divine feminine, like, I know who I am. This is me on my little throne and my little wand and my crown and all this amazing stuff, right? So I really have reclaimed my power. I'm sitting pretty. I know who I am. I know what my boundaries are. I know what works for me. I know what doesn't work for me. So all of this is really about, really owning that, really honoring that, and just yeah, just owning yourself and being proud and being, just kind of like going back and like I just like slotting back into your power, right? Clicking back into place and just being like, wow, I feel confident, I feel great, I feel all this. And if there has been any negativity about a situation, or if you feel the need to keep reopening something, this is really saying like, don't do that. Remember who you are, stay in your integrity, stay in your clarity, stay in your awareness of, it is time for you to just really own that and just really like not give your power away to continuing to talk about something that's dead and gone, that's finished, that's the end, right? That's really the energy of this. And then maybe part of why you felt like you haven't been able to release the negativity, or part of why you feel like you need to keep opening that wounding, is because we do have justice here. So this is really, maybe justice was not served in the way that you feel, or maybe you feel like it was not a fair situation. Life's not fair, and I don't say that lightly. I've gone through a lot of situations that have felt very, very unfair and were very unfair. But we have to remember that God is the ultimate justice here. And so if you have done your part and stood up for yourself and do all of that, then this is just part of it, is knowing that, like, keep those boundaries, and then these things will be just, they will be dealt with eventually, if not in this lifetime, then the next lifetime. And again, this isn't about getting complacent or allowing things or not doing anything, but when, especially with the theme of this reading, when, you've put time and energy into something to the point that like, it's just, it's just not going to do any good anymore. So this is just remembering, like, sometimes we don't see the justice we want right away, but that doesn't mean it won't be served. And it's like, we do have to hold ourselves accountable to be like, okay, is this worth my time and energy to keep pushing all this into this situation? Or is this something where it's just time for me to let go and have faith that, the karmic wheels will come around, the day of judgment will come, these people will have to own up for what they've done eventually, right? So releasing some of that. And then we have the world. So again, really echoing that of a cycle closing, something finishing, of just like, let it be done. That's what I think group 4, your message with this full moon is, let it be done. So if whatever situation is coming up for you while I'm speaking, trust that is the one that you need to release. So of course, with this full moon, you can ask for energy to release that, ask, your heart to be turned away from it, ask for, God to just kind of take it out of your zone, especially if you've cleaned up some of this energy and you're kind of like back to feeling comfortable and in charge of yourself. And instead feeling like, let the cycle be done, let these things finish, let, these things be taken care of in the way that only God can take care of things, instead of us trying to like micromanage and control every single piece of it. And then from there, I think we go into this Ace of Wands, which is about like, a new little start, a new rebirth, a new energy coming in, new situation, just finally like moving forward. So I feel like if maybe, this past few years, we've all gone through, it felt like really rough and really tough and just really like you can't make any progress in any way, shape, or form. Ace of Wands is really about like something new coming out the other side, like finally being reborn, finally giving new opportunity, finally be given a new situation, is really coming through there. And then, it might move into this 2 of Pentacles that is about, you have some decisions to make, you have choices, you have options, you can move forward, right? Sometimes, releasing the negativity of the situation could just be releasing the situation, right? It might not be overly negative one way or another, but it could just be that you're done with it and it's time to just pull your energy off of it completely and move forward. And so when you do start to move forward, you can be presented with these options of like, whoa, I can have multiple things. I can choose between this or this or this thing can happen for me, is what's going on with that. And then we have 5 of Swords, which is about you choosing which things go with you and which things don't, right? Sometimes people think this is like being cheated or being scammed, or maybe some of that old energy will come up when you're choosing between these 2 things of just like, oh no, I don't want to go through a harmful situation again. I don't want whatever. But in life, there's no written guarantee that something not ideal won't happen to us ever again. Okay, that's not how it goes. So this is really just about trusting and having faith that like when you do have to choose, there will be there will be the choice to be made, and like it's okay if old things come up, because old fears come up when we're moving out of our comfort zone, because they want us to stay in our comfort zone because that's more familiar to us. Even if it doesn't serve us anymore, at least it's familiar, right? So this is really about, if that fear is coming up, just looking at it, observing it, and saying, I can handle this, I can handle this, I can handle this. Because look, closing your reading, we have the beautiful star card. I love this card. And it's just, again, really soothing, loving, kind, compassionate energy for yourself. I feel like, again, starting with these 3 major arcana cards and then ending with this last major arcana card, is so much overflow, so much abundance, so much kindness, compassion for yourself. And this is really beautiful because you see all the stars here. Bookmarking your reading is like similar to the stars on her crown, right? So this is a lot of the energy of like, stay in that place, stay abundant, stay clear within yourself, and then the star energy will just kind of like overflow and overpour into all areas of your life, right? You don't need to be super worried about making the wrong choice. You don't need to be worried about people that will harm you. This is just about staying in your integrity, staying in your sovereignty, and knowing that as long as you control what you can control and do what you can do, then you can close cycles and release these old situations and move forward. So I feel like, especially because we're in the last full moon of the year, if there is a situation that you feel like, I do want to release this, I don't want to bring it forward with me into 2022 or the rest of my life, and obviously it might come up sometimes, that's life, but there's a situation where you do want to be really intentional and just be like, I'm ready to release that, I'm ready for it to not bother me anymore. This is the way to trust that and to know that that is happening for you. And then look, we have blossoming into abundance. I was gonna say, here's your oracle cards, but this one is so good, I just tell you right away before I start talking about it. So blossoming into abundance. So I feel like, again, with this new energy, kind of new start, fresh chapter, a lot of that coming forward, the blossoming into abundance, like, kind of will be seen in your life. You will be able to have new things working out for you, new things coming into you. And again, abundance is like a frequency we tap into. It's a feeling, more so than like physical reality things. And it's knowing that, and that star energy really mirrors that abundance feeling that we can tap into. And then where do we want to go? So I feel like withdraw, this is just really this isn't necessarily you withdrawing from something, but it is, again, like releasing the negativity. This is about releasing a situation, kind of withdrawing your energy from it. So with this full moon, you can also ask, like, I ask any energy that I might have left to come back to me, and just getting really clear about the ways that you can pull your energy back from a situation, right? Sometimes even if we're not in physical contact with it, sometimes energetically we can get caught up in some of these things. So this is about pulling your energy back from that, and just kind of like bringing it back into yourself. Just look at this cute little fox, like resting. So just offering yourself that love and compassion and patience to turn inward to be able to deal with that, is something that you can do, right? And can offer. Sorry, I got distracted by this card. Okay, I welcome healthy, loving relationships. So I feel like, maybe if there was some pain around a relationship, or romantic, platonic, a work relationship, family, whatever's going on, you can kind of reset that energy with, I welcome healthy, loving relationships, offering yourself some kindness and compassion. Just knowing that, like, you don't need to say, like, okay, well, this is how a relationship was, so this is how every relationship in my life is going to be. That's not how it works. We don't have like one try and then we're done, right? So this is really about, it's a good affirmation you can focus on, especially as you're releasing maybe some of these negative things. And if you have this fear of, oh no, I'm going to get played again, or something won't work out again, right? You can really focus it with, I welcome healthy, loving relationships, which is very nice, setting the intention. And then I benefit with gratitude. So again, sometimes we can't energetically let something go because we haven't found the lesson in it. And so, okay, again, I was talking about in the beginning, we are towing a very fine line here between spiritual bypassing and letting you feel your feelings. So sometimes what you learn from this lesson is just like, I learned how to stand up for myself. I learned to have boundaries. I learned what to say no to, right? It doesn't have to be like, I learned this great, wonderful, magical thing, right? I learned to be more compassionate to myself sometimes can be the thing we learned, right? You go through a shitty situation, it's like, well, I learned how to be kind and loving to myself, right? So, and again, when you do this, we're not condoning anything. We're not saying anything was okay that wasn't okay. We're not doing any of that, but this is just saying, I benefit with gratitude, like kind of releasing that and knowing that when you have learned what you need to learn from a situation, right, you can release it. It's like that saying, suffering ends when meaning begins, right? So if you know a shitty time in your life was literally just to make you be more compassionate towards yourself, that's good enough for me. Okay, and then last card is from my place of alignment, I'll be inspired to achieve wonderful results. So again, this is just like when we're talking about calling all your energy back to you, when all of your energy is back to you instead of like scattered in some of these situations, that's when you can kind of be back in alignment and feel more powerful and feel more clear and just feel, again, more of this Empress energy. So I feel like with this full moon, again, when I was talking about you want to end, an energy leak to a situation or something that isn't serving you anymore, and you can instead focus on calling that energy back to you, and it's allowing, getting back into this place of alignment and knowing that life is so much easier to navigate when all the energy that belongs to us like is back with us instead of scattered around to all these other places. Okay, that's everything I have for you. I'm going to leave it there. Happy full moon. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.